Let me ask you something before we even begin. What if the biggest problem in your life right now isn't the situation itself, but how you're reacting to it? Because here's the truth. Life will hit hard. Not sometimes, not occasionally, consistently, unexpectedly, and often at the worst possible moments. So the real question isn't, how do I avoid problems? It's, who do I become when problems show up? Most people, when life gets difficult, react instantly. They feel overwhelmed, so they panic. They feel disrespected, so they lash out. They feel stressed, so they make rush decisions. And in that moment, they think they're solving a problem, but they're not. They're making it worse. Because when you think emotionally, you don't think clearly. You don't think logically. You don't think about the consequences. You think about relief. You're trying to escape the feeling, not solve the situation. And that's dangerous because one emotional decision can put you in a worse position than you started in. Think about this in real life. You lose money. Your first instinct is to panic. You react out of frustration. And now, the situation is even more complicated than before. That's what reacting looks like. Reacting is instant, but responding is intentional. When you react, you're controlled by the moment. When you respond, you control the moment. And that difference, that's where your future is decided. A lot of people believe their emotions are valid in every situation. And yes, your feelings are real, but that doesn't mean that should lead your actions. Just because you feel angry doesn't mean you should act angry. Just because you feel frustrated doesn't mean you should make a rushed decision. Because think about it, if being angry actually solved your problems, your life will be perfect by now. But it doesn't. All anger does is raise your blood pressure, cloud your thinking, and fill your mind with negative thoughts. Meanwhile, the problem is still sitting there, waiting for a real solution. So what's the point of letting it control you? Life is not stable. It's not predictable. It's not fair. It's volatile. And if you're not mentally prepared for that, life will keep knocking you down. Not because you're weak, but because you're reacting instead of thinking. Strength isn't about never feeling emotions. Strength is about not letting those emotions control your decisions. Because at some point, you have to realize you can't afford to be emotionally unstable in an unstable world. Not for yourself, and definitely not if you have people depending on you. So what do you do when life hits hard? You pause. Not to ignore the problem, not to run from it, but to create space between what you feel and what you do. Because clarity is everything. When your mind is crowded, when there's a million thoughts hitting you at once, you're not thinking, you're reacting. You're grabbing the first idea just to feel in control again. But the first idea isn't always the best idea. Sometimes, it's just the fastest escape. Next time life hits hard, remember this. Pause, breathe, think, and act. When you pause, create distance from emotion. When you breathe, calm your body down so your mind can follow. When you think, look at the situation logically, not emotionally. And when you act, make the best decision, not the fastest one. That's why stepping back is powerful. Take a breath, go for a walk, sit in silence, do something that calms your mind. Not forever, just long enough to reset. Because when you come back with a clear head, you're no longer trying to escape the situation. You're ready to solve it. And here's something I want you to understand. Negative thinking creates negative outcomes. If your mind is filled with stress, fear, and frustration, you're going to make the decisions that reflect that. But when you slow down, when you choose to think clearly, when you choose to stay calm, you give yourself a chance to find a better path forward, even in bad situations. Now let's be real. Some situations will hit you so hard that it feels overwhelming. And in those moments, it's okay to feel. You're human. But you don't stay there. You don't live in that emotional state. You acknowledge it, then move forward with intention. Because if you stay stuck in that feeling, it will control everything you do next. See, life is like a roller coaster. There will be highs and it will be lows, and both are temporary. But if you only feel strong when things are good and fall apart when things go bad, then you're not stable. You're dependent on circumstances, and life doesn't reward that. So the goal isn't to eliminate emotions. The goal is to master them. To reach a point where no matter what happens, you stay calm, think clearly, and move forward. Because that's what separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. So yeah, you don't control what happens to you, but you always control how you respond to it. And your response will either move you forward or push you further back. The next time life hits you hard, and I'm sure it will, pause and ask yourself, am I reacting to how I feel or responding to what I need to do? Because that one question can change everything. It can save you from bad decisions. It can keep you focused. And it can turn a bad moment into a stepping stone instead of a setback. Control your emotions, or your emotions will control your life.